Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to see you all here with us today. So, looks like we have Dr. Maurita will be our speaker. As she's turning on her microphone there, let's all stare at her. Sorry. And we have Chris Hale will be our musician, our special guest this morning. And of course Rick on piano. And if you would please put your phones on silent during the service, that would be terrific. Thank you.
I got caught. Adjusting my microphone. What a pleasure it is to see you all here this morning, to be with you. And to greet all those who happen to be looking at us on the internet today and in the week to come. We enjoy being together. There's something special about that. And I hope that some of those who are looking at us today through the internet might join us. What a pleasure it would be to see you. You know, we have been meeting in this big building for something like 42, 41 years. And just as with ancient cathedrals that you might have gone into in Europe, a place that has been dedicated to worship, to prayer, to reaching out to God and thinking about God, it acquires a kind of atmosphere, a feeling. If you've ever gone into one of these great cathedrals, either in this country or in Europe, there's a feeling about the place. And that's the same thing here. There is that atmosphere. And we all enjoy it. We all sense it, consciously or unconsciously. And so I invite those of you who are looking to come in and experience that. Experience the warmth, the connection, the realization of the presence of God. So, thank you. Thank you for being with us today. Well, I usually start out with a Bible verse. However, I found this quote from Melinda Kramer, our founder. She wrote it in 1905. She died in 1906. So she certainly was at that time in her life when she was as full of experience and sense of God's presence as she ever was in her life, truly. What she said was, "Now is the accepted time, and today is the day of salvation. Now is the accepted time because there is no other time. You never lived one moment in the past. Then let us make more of the now, for it never ends. The past holds nothing from us, and the future holds nothing from us. All is now. The kingdom of heaven is always at hand." Right here, right now, in us, around us, is the realization that the kingdom of heaven, good, is available to me right now. Nothing's keeping me from it except that I don't remember it. Except that I'm not cherishing this moment. I'm not living it fully, feeling it. Give me thanks for it. It's up to us, isn't it? It's up to us remembering that truth. Now is the accepted time. Now is where the kingdom of heaven is, because the kingdom of heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness. It isn't anything that we have to go somewhere to get. But remembering that, that's the trick. That's the challenge. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is now. the good of life is here. The blessing of God is here. It's up to us to remember that and rejoice in it. So thank you so much for being here to remember and to rejoice. Now, shall we say our divine science statement of being? It's just a powerful statement, a statement of truth. We say it with feeling. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God and am ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Well, this is the time when we get still, have a few minutes of meditation, the opportunity to, take a deep breath and relax. We carry a good bit of tension around in our bodies, but now we can release that and feel, know, revel in the truth that God is omnipresent. God is here now. God is within and without, because God is the basic energy of the universe. which underlies everything, every created thing, every material thing. We are one with God, always, and totally forgetful, ignorant of it. Not realizing that it's as though we had $100 million in the bank and didn't know how to write a check, or forgot to. We have access to, we can draw on wisdom that is far beyond our own, information that we might need, truth that we need to perceive and live by in order to live triumphantly, happily. All this is one with us because God is omnipresent. How blessed. How blessed we are to know this. Is it necessary, really, to keep reminding people of it all the time? Yes, sadly it is necessary. Because life is so much with us. Life impinges on us, presses in on us, fills us, frightens us. Goodness knows, the news that we read in the paper and listen to on the television or radio or wherever we get it is always bad news. One thing after another, they find it, they ferret it out from this corner of the country to that part of the world. Bad news. But the good news is far more present than the bad news. Good is going on all the time. It just doesn't make the press. Doesn't catch our attention or our horror. Good is omnipresent because God is omnipresent, because God's children are here with us, shoulder to shoulder. Look for it. Look for it. Look for the good and be thankful for the good, because it's everywhere. We all have so much to be grateful for. In the next 90 seconds of silence that we're going to have, I invite you to pick out those things that maybe happened today or yesterday or last week. Those things you heard, those things you shared that were so good, so blessed. Right now, think of 2, 3, 4 things and give thanks for them. Give thanks that they sort of blended into the background because we are used to good. We hear the bad, sometimes it happens to us, but it's momentary. And the good is right here, right now. Let's give thanks. Let's point it out to ourselves, starting right now. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will give you solutions. I will give you the abundance you need, the ideas, inspiration you need. I will give you my undying, unqualified love. I will give you my peace, and especially I will give you my presence, says the Lord. I will give you my good. Trust me. Have faith in me. I am here for you. And what do we say? Yes, please, and thank you. Thank you for the unmitigated, never-ending flow of blessing and good from that infinite force that created us and is always with us. Amen.
Amen.
Shall we say our Lord's Prayer, the affirmative, the beautiful version of the Lord's Prayer translated by Rocco Errico, the Nura Foundation. Shall we say it together? Our Father, who is everywhere, your name is sacred, your kingdom is come, your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive us our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. And you let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom, the power, and the song and praise from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Amen. Well, today I'm going to be talking about the shining path. Hippocrates, it's probably a name you remember, lived around 400 BC, and he is said to be the father of medicine. In Greece, illness had always been surrounded with superstition and actually the belief that the gods caused it by their wrath. You weren't just the way you should be, to them. So they caused illness. But Hippocrates insisted that all illness had a natural cause. He said that in the face of all this sea of belief that it was the gods that did it. And for the most part, he believed that illness was caused by the wrong foods you ate. But apparently he was the first physician who organized and wrote down his methods of healing the full range of illnesses for men, women, and children. And he was greatly respected and admired both during his life and long, long afterwards. I ran across a quote of his, and it kind of brought me up short. I thought, now that is insightful. Hippocrates was supposed to have said, which we don't know for certain if this was a quote, but what he said. Before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up the things that made him sick. Before you heal someone, ask if he's willing to give up the things that made him sick. These days we tend to think in terms of pills or treatments or something like that to bring us back to health. With the exception, of course, of addiction, which those substances you absolutely have to give up totally in order to heal. But I guess we have all heard the tales of people who have lung cancer, and when other people aren't around and they think they can get away with it, they have a cigarette. Yeah, keep on doing it. Or the people with diabetes who, oh, what a delicious looking cake. If a little piece is not going to hurt me, it's not going to be bad for me. Now, again, just so little. So, sometimes giving up things that you know are not good for you, they're going to make you sick, that can be tough. It can be hard to do. But, you know, Hippocrates' question is an important one. It's a vitally important one for everybody. For you, for me. Because in this day and age, enormous amounts of research has been done on the body-mind connection. Yeah. His question, Hippocrates' question, is absolutely pertinent. Am I willing to give up those things that make me sick? What makes me sick? It can be my thought patterns, attitudes, my emotions, beliefs about myself, beliefs about life, my experiences. Those have an immediate impact on the body because body-mind connection is perfect. For good or for ill, it happens all the time. Stress, which is caused by ongoing worry, negative thinking, and tension, it elicits the production of hormones, specifically adrenaline and cortisol, but other neurotransmitters as well. And it affects our blood pressure, it affects our heart rates, our sleeping patterns, it affects our appetite, yeah, and a lot more, lots more. God never intended for this life-saving flight or fight reaction, because that's what it's commonly called. He didn't intend for it to be long-term. It was meant to supply that extra energy we need if a truck rounds the corner going far too fast and we're right in its path. It's bearing down on us. All that cortisol, all that adrenaline, wow, it helps you to leap as you've never leapt before. Leap out of the way, avoiding serious injury or possibly even death. Short-term, adrenaline is the perfect physical response to imminent danger. It saved countless lives. The effect of continuing stress, though, is overwhelmingly destructive. It compromises the immune system. It causes inflammation in various parts of the body and pain there, headaches, weight loss, or weight gain especially. It affects us by causing panic attacks, hair loss, depression, and the awful list goes on and on and on. The bad effects that stress causes the body. So what do? How do we avoid this? Some anxiety is normal, yeah. There's going to be, I've got to make this presentation to the boss, or I've got to deal with XYZ situation. Some of it is normal. But too much is devastating. Of course there is medication you can take, but short of that, there are all sorts of natural remedies for stress. And you've heard them, and yeah, they take effort. But they certainly don't have side effects, like exercise, going for a walk, deep breathing, meditation. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful for us. Yoga, some kind of sort of creative hobby, like painting or maybe dancing, going for a dance. Something that absorbs us so that we're not thinking about anything else, and it relaxes us for a couple of hours maybe. And healthy food, eating stuff that's good for us, getting enough rest. Those are simple things that anybody can bring into their lives, make part of their lives, and they're wonderful. They really deal with stress in our lives. They're so helpful, all of them. But we need to keep in mind that the stressful situation, the impossible boss, the critical spouse or partner, or the unexpected bill, or that little fender bender that you, oh no, that you did. Those are not really the culprit. It's our reaction to that set of circumstances that generates a bad feeling within us. It can generate a fear, an ominous sense of pressure, rapid breathing. The list is voluminous about the kind of side effects we can have from stress. Why? Why are we so uptight about that person or that situation? And once again, are we willing to give up what's making us sick, stressed, unhappy? To give up our negative mental habits that are preventing us from living a life with a sense of inner peace needs to be examined. What are those mental habits? And in order to get some important insights into what might be causing those sets of thoughts, those problems, it's really helpful to take a deep look into our childhoods. The things we clearly remember. There's lots and lots of stuff we don't remember about what happened when we were a kid. But there are certain things that stand out in our memory, certain things that were said, certain ways we felt. Those we remember. We remember those very well. The goal is to begin seeing those memories as a shining path to a greater sense of freedom from stress. Because they can, handled rightly, they can eliminate a great deal of stress from our lives, believe it or not. I want to give you an example of what I mean. There was someone who once came to our church who had a simply horrendous childhood. They were literally beaten almost every day of their lives. At the time, the service included a time when we greeted each other. That meant turning to the right and to the left and a handshake or maybe a hug, a smile, a nod, good to see you, pat on the shoulder. It was meant as a gesture of pleasure to see somebody, to have them there again, a feeling of warmth and connection with that person. But this particular person always left the building before that greeting. They didn't want to be touched. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. It would have been a golden opportunity to begin correcting that automatic assumption that all attention meant pain. It was unfriendly and it was dangerous. That process of mental change could have started happening. Seeing the goodwill, seeing the friendliness that motivated the greeting from other people might have begun a healing of their negative expectation of other people. Might have prompted maybe a deeper insight into how their parents might have been brought up. Their parents probably were beaten. And perhaps maybe even some forgiveness for the parents' alcoholic sickness and their cruelty. It certainly would have reduced this person's stress levels. But it was not to be. Some parents should never have been parents. But no matter how kind or well-intentioned our parents were, they were human. Sometimes they said things and probably didn't mean them, but they made mistakes, because human beings do make mistakes. And even if they didn't make any outstanding mistakes, children can sometimes misunderstand things, misread things completely, take them in a way that they were never meant, or even draw conclusions that were totally unrelated to what was said, and carry that memory from then on. We are really wise if we can take a very close look at the inner self-created rules. Oh, we never do this, or we better always do that. These are rules that we carry around, sometimes from our earliest childhoods. They can be illogical and unwise, but we might have lived by them from our earliest years. They might have no basis in fact, no basis in truth. They might generate only self-destructive tension, anxiety, fear. And once we begin to see those, hear those messages, they've got to be rejected now, right away, discarded, totally, kicked out of your head. I want to give you another example. This was a man, I'll call him Fred. He always had a fear of lack. He was always afraid that he was not going to have enough to eat. It was going to be a lack of money. And he often talked about this. He often talked about a deep concern about losing his job, or that the economy might tank. But this was despite the fact that he had a good long-term job. He had excellent savings, no debts. He owned his home outright. They paid off the mortgage. Despite all this, he and his wife often argued because she wasn't frugal enough. She was not thrifty enough with the money that had to be spent for the house and things. She gave too much money to charity or to the church. He certainly remembered why, but he never really examined what it meant, what this fear within him meant. But where did it come from? Well, during his childhood, his father lost his job for about 6 months. Eventually found good employment. But from then on, his father would get a certain fearful look on his face, a frown, whenever money was discussed. He certainly didn't mean to pass on this fear to his son, whom he dearly loved, but he did. Throughout his life, Fred had illogically felt the ongoing stress of fear because there wasn't going to be enough money. There was always the combination, the combination of fear when money was discussed, despite the fact that he was comfortably well off financially. I had talked to him about this, and he finally was able to understand that old fear helped him. It made him frugal, and so he had money in the bank. He had savings and so forth. but also how it had hurt him, how it had decreased his quality of life, how it had caused him stress, and how it had caused inharmony in his home with his wife. And it was now time to see it for what it was and discard it. Whenever the fear came up, it would be logically handled and discarded. Much the better way. However, from our divine science spiritual point of view, though every challenge, every physical or mental difficulty will come up and take its place right in the forefront of our consciousness, including wall-to-wall stress, it is a spiritual opportunity. A spiritual opportunity. Because it's at those times when we learn to lean in, to lean on God. We want to remember to talk to God. He is present, within and without. We want to tell Him often, remind ourselves, affirm and reaffirm that God is the only presence and the only power. And that right action, God's good is already established right here, right now. Already. That is the shining path of life. To remember to talk to God about it. See, no matter how complicated the problem is, no matter how intractable the stress that you're under seems to be, you are a majority because you have oneness with God. You and God are a majority. Compare the power that created the universe. 13 billion light years. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. That incredible space filled with an incredible, complicated, complex organization of energies and matter. Laws that govern that complexity perfectly. And compare all of that creation, to your challenges. Compare them. Would what stresses you be too difficult for God to solve, to heal? I don't think so. In a moment of divine insight, Walt Whitman wrote, "From this hour I ordain myself loosed of limits and imaginary lines. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness." What a fabulous insight! We are goodness itself because we are spiritually the image of God. That is our identity. We are His image, and it was always intended by Him that we live with love and freedom in every dimension of our being. Every dimension. We have mistakenly created limits and barriers to the good that God designed for us to enjoy. But are we willing to give up the mental habits that are making us sick and anxious and fearful? And I hope the answer is 1,000 times yes. In another moment of absolute spiritual clarity, Walt Whitman wrote, "I am divine inside and out." We can say that to ourselves. I am divine, inside and out. Say it to yourself silently. It's freeing, isn't it? It's wonderful. We are divine beings. That's our basic nature now and forever, eternally. To know that, to consistently remember that truth will attract ever more good into our lives. It will make anxiety and fear in harmony and in possibility. We live that certainty. We live that reminding ourselves again and again of that truth. And that is walking the shining path of life. Shall we get still? Oh yes, there are clues to the things that we remember from our childhood, and they need to be examined. Oh, that just happened so long ago, you know, that was nothing. But it was not nothing, because we might have made it into a law for ourselves, a way we looked at ourselves, a thing that limited us, limited our good, limited our creativity, limited our expectation of blessing. Look again. Listen to those old injunctions, those old words. Discard them with glee, just as you would something filthy and old and unnecessary that smells bad. Discard them and claim freedom. Freedom from stress or fear. Freedom to enjoy all that God has planned for you. Thank you, beloved Father. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Chris. Lovely. Well, this is the time of our service and we bless the gifts and we thank you all for those gifts which you send to leave in one of our baskets here. And the same for those of you who are looking at us on the internet. We thank you as well, because there are a lot of churches in this country that had to close their doors because people didn't come. They were afraid of COVID, and they did not support the church. They did not continue to see it as valuable somehow. And that has not happened. We have managed to take care of our bills. But it is only with your help. And we thank you for that continuing help. Shall we say the blessing of the gifts? Today I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now.
Right now.
I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before I forget, I just want to say, I forget this every Sunday, the prayer basket. And I'll just put a handful of notes in there this morning, names. So please take some names out of the prayer basket. There's lots of people in our congregation and they watch us that need prayer. So please take some names and do that. I greatly appreciate it. There's been some changes this week. Our board meeting is usually held on Mondays. My work schedule has changed, and now that it's getting dark early, we have a couple board members that can't drive at night. So we're going to have our board meeting next Sunday morning before church at 9 o'clock. So from 9 to 10. Going forth, we'll figure out what we're going to do during the winter and summer months. But next Sunday will be our board meeting from 9 to 10. Okay, the flowers today are sponsored by the church for Maurita's birthday. Happy birthday. And speaking of birthdays, we have Maurita and Bob and Judy all have birthdays in the next day or so. So we wish them all happy birthday. We have a special cake. I know Judy's not here, but she's watching, so happy birthday to Judy. So anyhow, so enjoy this cake that we had made special for your birthday. So, I just want, the other thing is we got the newsletter ready today, and some of you hand delivered to you. We're saving the 58 cents postage to put towards our parking lot. So anyhow, the ones that are here that didn't get it, I have them. The rest of them we will mail them to you. And as we said before, the newsletter is your letter. It tells you what's going on with the church you have, and we want to put good news in there. So we always like to have good news. So for the next newsletter, again, it's your newsletter, and as Ann said, if you don't give us anything, then there won't be a newsletter. So anyhow, this is the last one for the year. We may be doing something around Christmas time to put out another something special for that, but enjoy the newsletter. Ann does a great job with it, so thank her for doing that. I do want to apologize first off for the lawn. We've had an ongoing issue this past 2 weeks with the lawn guy, and he assured me yesterday at 6 o'clock when I'm sitting in the parking lot that it would be taken care of. Well, I was here this morning and it's not. So I assure you it will be taken care of before the day's over. So anyhow, I just wanted to apologize for that and let you know that it is being taken care of. And lastly, it's good to see Becky here this morning. She hasn't been here in quite a while because she has to take care of her mother. But our great friend Ann gave her a relief this morning. And so thank you, Becky, for being here. It's great to see you. Hope that we can work things out and you can come back again. Also, she called me the other day. As you know, some of us sent birthday cards to her mother who turned 96. Is that correct? And she was really excited about all the birthday cards that everybody sent. So thank you all for doing that. That's what this church is about, is doing little things like that. You might not think it's important
But maybe when we get to be 96, we want some birthday cards too. But anyhow, thanks to every one of you that sent them, and thanks to Ann for providing them. So anyhow, it was great to do that. So did you want to talk about your new book? You're going to start another book Wednesday night?
Yes, we are going to start a new study. This time it is on one of the Brooks sisters, Fanny Brooks James, wrote a book called Truth and Health. Truth and Health. And I've ordered a couple of books, additional ones from the Federation, and I hope that they'll get here soon. But it promises to be a wonderful original book written by one of the women who were right there in the very, very beginning, one of Nona Brooks' sisters. So it should be fun, should be interesting, and anybody and everybody is welcome. Wednesday night, 5:30. 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whoops, 5 o'clock to 6:30. Thank you.
Journaling this week? Okay, we're kind of back on our schedule now. Journaling on Tuesday night and coffee after the reading class on Wednesday. All right. We usually end our service with a prayer for our country, because it is certainly facing challenges of many different sorts right now. But I would ask that you give thanks in advance, as Jesus did, for the blessings that are coming through these challenges, the good that is coming forth, the positive changes throughout our country. Nobody likes change, but indeed, we know that there is good right there because God is right there. So in the next 90 seconds, would you go within and give thanks in advance, whether you see it or not, it is there, starting right now. And we say, thank you, dear God. Amen.
Amen.